first is to use your calculator and solve for it. Okay. Right now, we're just going to stay in degree mode for this section, but later it will change. Okay. And the mode of your calculator is important. Okay. You need to make sure that you're in the correct mode based on what you're calculating. The MyOpenMath only calculates in terms of radians. Okay. So if you had a question like this, and if you typed in sine of 156, okay, on the MyOpenMath, it's going to be wrong. Even if it gives you a value and shows you what it's equivalent to, it's calculating this as 156 radians. So if you were going to do that, you would have to convert this into radians. Do you guys remember what it would take to convert to radians? Pi over 180. Okay, so if it did preview and you entered this, it would give you the correct answer. Okay, so the MyOpenMath only works in radians, okay, but you need to be really careful. Make sure your calculator is set in the correct mode. Okay, when you are looking at the different modes, okay, you just check right down here. So you can see my calculator right now is set in Radian mode. In order to change that, you hit this mode button right below the white alpha key, and you scroll down to angle, which is option, the fourth line down, and we make sure that that's selected to whichever mode you need. Okay, in this case, the degree mode. Once you're in degree mode, then what you can do is you can hit sine, cosine, and tangent. The main three ratios are right here. So secant sine, 156. I'll put a decimal in there so my answer is displayed as a decimal. And I see I have 0.4067. Okay, if I want to find cosine and tangent, that's all pretty straightforward. So cosine, just enter 23 degrees. Again, I'll put a decimal so it enters as a decimal or displays as a decimal. I get 0.9205. And then finally the tangent of 166. Put a decimal there so my answer is displayed as a decimal. I get negative 0.2493. All right, so these ones are straightforward. They have the buttons that are assigned to them. And when you do the reciprocal functions, you can do one of two things. Okay, you can just take 1 over the reciprocal function of that. So what we could do for cosecant of 156 is we could evaluate 1 over sine of 156. So if I took this number that I got up here, if I did 1 divided by, and I went up here to the sine of 156, entered that, I'd get my solution. So 2.4586 if I round it to 4 decimals. Okay, so I can use the definition of the reciprocal. If I wanted to, I could also, though, I could just type it in with the alpha keys. So I could just alpha lock my calculator, type CSC, deselect the alpha key, and then type the 156 with the decimal. And when I do that, it evaluates it the same way. So you can do either one. It's completely up to you. Okay, so the secant, again, since I'm connected to the one on my computer, I'll just type in with the keyboard SEC, and then 23 decimal point, I get my value 1.0864. And then finally the cotangent, same idea. I can just type in COT using the alpha keys, or I could take 1 divided by and just enter the actual tangent of that number, 166, and I will get my value, which is negative 4.0108.